I didn't have nothing to do with killing those people. Period.
And I don't lie, so I know what I would say then.
I've told you that all the way down the line. I wasn't around anyone when they were killed.
And I certainly wouldn't tell nobody to go in and do nothing to anybody that I wouldn't want done to me.
I'm not saying I'm not capable of doing it myself. But I'm just saying this. I did not do that.
Mr. Manson is a remorseless, cold-blooded murderer.
Everyone says that I was the leader of those people, but I was actually a follower.
Mr. Manson and I both know that he will never be suitable for parole.
They should stay in prison for the rest of their lives, like my sister will stay in her grave.
I didn't have nothing to do with killing those people.
You're going to win, helter skelter. You're going to win your reality.
Good afternoon, Mr. Manson. Gentlemen, if I could ask you to take your glasses off, please. Thank you.
We're on, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. All right, we're on the record. This will be a subsequent parole consideration hearing for Charles Manson. ID number is B33920. On 4/22 of 1971, the prisoner was received in CDC pursuant to Penal Code Section 1168, violation of Penal Code Section 8 counts of 187. That's first-degree murder out of Los Angeles County. Their case number is A253156, counts 1 through 7, and the controlling minimum eligible parole date is 12/13/78. Prisoner was also received on the same date for violation of Penal Code Section 187, one count of first-degree murder out of Los Angeles County, case number A267861. It's count 1. Today's date is March 27, 1997. We're located at Corcoran State Prison. The time is approximately 1:30 p.m. We're going to start by establishing voice identification by each of us, stating our first name and last name, spelling our last name. Mr. Manson, when we get around the table to you, if after you spell your last name, if you'll give me your CDC number. We'll start with Mr. Douglas, and we'll go to his left.
Mike Douglas, DOUGLAS, Deputy Commissioner of Board of Prison Terms.
My name is Steve Baker, BAKER, Commissioner with the Board of Prison Terms.
My name is Arthur Van Court, VAN, capital COURT, Commissioner, Board of Prison Terms.
Charles Millis Scott Manson, B33920, and all the rest of them.
Can we just spell your last name, Mr. Manson?
MANSON.
Thank you. Mr. Kay.
Yes, Stephen Kay from the District Attorney's Office in Los Angeles, and my last name is spelled K-A-Y.
Stephen K. from his mother.
Okay.
Gary Higgins, HIGGINS, Classification and Parole Representative.
Laura Flemate, FLEMATE, Office Assistant.
Victor J. Castillo, CASTILLO, Assistant CMPR.
Officer A. Los Santos, AELOSSANTOS, Correction Officer, CSP Corcoran.
M. Martins, MARTINS, Officer.
Stephanie Hard, Hanford Central, SCEFANIEHARD.
The cameraman, please.
Don Menzel, MENZEL.
Mary Grady, GRADY, KCBS TV.
Sheldon Gajarian, GAJARIAN, KMPH.
All right, thank you, everyone. Mr. Manson, the purpose of today's hearing is to again consider your suitability for parole. In arriving at a decision, we'll consider the commitment offense, prior criminality, and social history, as well as your behavior since your commitment. We have reviewed your central file and the prior transcripts, and we'll give you an opportunity to make any corrections or any clarifications to the record. And incorporate by reference a statement of fact from the decision summary dated December 1st, 1982, pages 2 through 6. Then we'll go directly to your progress since your last hearing, the new psychiatric reports, and any other information which has a bearing on parole suitability. Any change in your parole plan should be brought to our attention at that time. And before we recess for deliberation, the district attorney and the prisoner will be given an opportunity to make a short presentation regarding parole suitability and the length of confinement. Certain rights that you have for this hearing. You have a right of a timely notice of the hearing, and your file was made available to you for review. You have the right to present any relevant documents. Do you have any documents to present to the board today that we don't already have?
Well, I'm not much into the clerical perspective of this particular chamber of thought.
Okay, so we pretty much have all the documents that we're going to have. Is that
well, I imagine you wrote them. They're yours.
Okay. You also have a right to an impartial panel. Do you have any problems with a panel member seated?
No. In fact, it's better than last time.
Okay. You're going to get a copy of the tentative written decision today. That decision will be effective in 90 days after review. A transcript and a copy of that decision will automatically be sent to you. You have a right to appeal within 90 days of the effective date of the decision. Now, you're not required to discuss the matter with the panel. You're not required to admit to the offense. However, the panel does accept as true the court findings. In other words, we're not going to retry your case.
Right. Good.
Mr. Douglas, any confidential information going to be used?
No, Mr. Chair.
All right. Mr. Manson, did you get a copy? Did you get a packet like this?
Someone offered me something if I would sign something. But then someone else told me not to sign anything because my name was worth a lot of money and they didn't want me using it as another economy.
All right, I understand. Do you remember whether or not the items that are checked on this piece of paper were the same items that they offered to you?
I'm not much at this book stuff. Let's see. What am I looking for exactly?
Just to make sure that you had an opportunity to look at a board report and your psych report and all that.
Oh, yeah, the guy offered that. Yeah, he brought that into my attention.
Okay, good.
But I'm not sure of those little scratches.
Okay, well, I understand that. Are you ready to proceed without...
yes, sir. I'm here for you, whatever you wish.
Do you have any preliminary objections before we start?
Well, yeah, I have a lot of objections, but no one's ever been interested before.
Okay, do you have any objections to the way the hearing is being conducted?
No, it seems reasonable.
Okay, that's kind of what we're after as well.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any objections to the hearing? Okay, do you swear to tell us the truth today?
Always.
All right, that's all I ask. All right, I've got some stuff to read here, so I'll be a minute. We'll start with offense summary. Says shortly before midnight on 8/8 of 1969, Manson informed his crime partners that now was the time for helter-skelter. Crime partners were directed to accompany Charles Tex Watson in order to carry out Manson's orders. Crime partners were Linda Kasabian, Susan
Where's
Atkins.
this coming from? Who's writing this?
This comes from the probation report from when you first came into the system.
Oh, well, it's a little distorted.
Well, when I get through reading this, then I'll ask you if you can give me your version. All right?
All right.
And you can straighten it out. Anyway, crime partners were Tex Watson, Linda Kasabian, Susan Atkins, and Patricia Kernwinkle. Watson drove to CO Drive. A vehicle containing victim Stephen Parent approached the gate. Watson stopped him at gunpoint and fatally shot him. All of the crime partners then proceeded to the house and gained entrance except Linda Kasabian, who stood lookout. Once inside, they murdered Abigail Ann Folger, inflicting 28 multiple stab wounds to her body. Wojciech Frykowski was killed by a gunshot wound to his back and multiple force trauma of blunt nature to his head. Sharon Tate Polanski, who was 8 months pregnant, was killed by multiple stab wounds. Jay Sebring was killed by multiple stab wounds. On 8/10 of 1969, Manson drove his crime partners to a location near the residence of Lino and Rosemary LaBianca. Manson entered the LaBianca home alone and at gunpoint tied up the victims. He impressed them that they would not be harmed and that a robbery was taking place. He then returned to the vehicle containing the crime partners and directed them to enter the residence and kill the occupants. Crime partners Charles Watson, Patricia Kernwinkle, Leslie Van Houten entered the residence and Manson drove away from the scene. Crime partners entered the residence and killed Lino LaBianca by inflicting stab wounds to his neck and abdomen and carved the word war on his stomach. Rosemary LaBianca was killed by multiple stab wounds to the neck and the trunk. At both the murder scenes, the crime partners used the blood of the victims to write words on the walls. The other count, murder first, count 1, case number 267861. On 7/26/1969, Manson with crime partners Bussolay, Atkins, Grogan, and Davis tortured Gary Hinman by severing a part of his right ear and causing a laceration to the left side of his face. Subject wanted Hinman to sign over his property. On 7/27/69, Hinman was killed by a stab wound through the heart, which was inflicted by Bussolay. That's a statement of facts, Mr. Manson.
As they've been presented to you.
That's correct.